Red Mercury is it's an internet hoax that I found a couple of years ago, and the story was there's this hyperdense liquid iodine that can be turned into a nuclear weapon, and some South African scientists had got it out, and it was very dangerous. And I just thought it was a great idea, so I just kept that idea and thought if we ever did a game that we needed a super weapon for, this would be cool. And it's got a great name, Red Mercury. It just sounds cool. Our whole angle, I think, on this game is to make something cinematic, which isn't necessarily realistic. You know, some of my favorite action movies are, you know, totally unrealistic. But, you know, there are elements of realism in this genre that are critical. You have to get the uniforms, weapons, equipment, and sound right for the player, because they're very discerning in that regard. But on the other hand, you want to have, you know, big explosions and, you know, wipe out a whole army on your own. You know, that's what's fun about the game. You are Captain Frank Hayden, who's a Delta Force operative, and your team in the beginning of the game is thrown right into the most intense part of the game. You're on a near suicide mission to get into this Syrian coastal town and stop this nuclear weapon from getting away, possibly into Tel Aviv. At the end of the first level, you actually fail, and the nuke goes off. And we fade the screen to black, and it says 72 hours earlier. And so you go back in time and you pick up the story with your team in the African Congo, where you're on a mission to secure a crashed American aircraft. We knew from the beginning that we wanted to do co-op, and we were originally designed only single-player game with multiplayer, but the lead designer really wanted to do co-op, and kind of in a secret project began to work on the co-op levels, and then just sprung it on us one day. We were like, wow, dude, this is so cool that you did this. And so he was able to design with the other level designers 10 unique co-op maps. And I think that's great. It gives the game even more replayability. There's a mode I should mention in the game that we call Delta Force, and you can play the entire game single player with one life. And it may sound ridiculous, but when you play that way, it is a whole new way of playing. And if you're you've got 15 hours invested in the game, you're going to be a lot more careful about what you do next and how you manage your ammo and everything. And it takes the game to another level. We improved the Unreal AI with a bunch of extensions that allow us to create something we call combat nodes. And that's in the level design. There's places that you naturally would take cover. And the enemy and your team will vie for those positions. If you take a certain combat node, then your teammates will take up nodes that support you. If you just sit there and do nothing, the enemy will close on you, leapfrogging from position to position, covering each other as they fire, and put pressure on you to finally get within grenade range, and then they'll attack you from grenade range. And so it makes the game has got a pretty intense, emergent capability. Although it's heavily scripted, because the AI and these combat nodes, you could find yourself trying to come to an optimal way to play the game. And the game has, for me, a surprising amount of replayability. I mean, we've been working on the thing for 2 years. And the first level of the game, the demo that you'll play in Xbox Magazine, is actually so much fun that I never get tired of playing it. It's just, you can play it so many different ways.